You're watching a video from CycleCruza's all-in-one sport bike channel. Subscribe today.
Now, in my opinion, the worst mistake that you can be making as a rider out here on the streets is not practicing your emergency braking skills and your swerving skills to help prepare you in case an emergency happens where you need to brake hard or you need to bail out of a tight situation. First off, you guys want to make sure that you're properly braking out here on the streets. Now, a lot of you guys probably already know this, so disregard it if you already know it. But there's a lot of people out there, a lot of riders out there that are not using the appropriate braking skills out here on the streets. A lot of you guys are only using the front brake, especially you guys out on these sport bikes. That's the worst thing you can do, is always use the front brake only, because if a car pulls out in front of you and you need to brake real fast, what are you going to do? You're going to go by habit. You're going to pull all front brake. Your front tire is going to end up slipping and you're going to be on your ass on the ground when you could have possibly prevented that by using proper braking skills. What you want to be doing out here on the streets is you want to use 70% front brake and 30% rear. Obviously, most of your braking power is going to be the front brake, but the rear brake is also very important as well, because it's going to help stabilize the bike should you need to stop really fast. So guys should be out in the parking lot on occasion practicing those emergency braking skills. But with your routine riding, always practice the proper braking. Like I said, 70% front, 30% rear. Get in that habit. Don't get in the habit of using only the front brake. That's the worst thing you could ever do. Seriously. So slowing down, pull clutch in, front brake and rear. And if you use too much rear, what'll happen is you'll fishtail. And there's some riders out there, like some riders that ride cruisers, that use more rear than front, and that's bad as well. Some of them think that if you use rear and you fishtail and you low side on the bike to help prevent an accident, that's actually a good thing. That is not. You don't want to do that. You don't want to rely on your, low siding on your bike to prevent an accident. Seriously, because it could cause more problems for you and set you up for a real fucked up day. Obviously, your brakes are going to be a hell of a lot better than your bike sliding on the ground. 70% front brake, 30% rear. Get that like ingrained in your head, man. Just always ride out here using the proper braking skills. And I'll tell you, the mistake that I made early on when I first started riding a motorcycle is I was using more rear brake, like some of these cruisers out here that are doing. And I'll tell you, one time I had to do an emergency brake situation. Somebody was pulling out of a parking lot, and I hit more rear than I did front brake. And obviously you're not going to get a whole lot of stopping power out of your rear brake. And my bike fishtailed. Luckily I have great balance and I was able to stay on the bike. But that was, definitely don't want to be doing that. Use both brakes. You have two brakes for a reason. The rear brake isn't on there for aesthetics. It's on there to use it to help save your ass, keep you safe out on the streets. The sound of your bike can help save you. I'm definitely for putting an aftermarket exhaust, either a slip-on or a full exhaust on your bike. In my opinion, it's not necessary to go for a full exhaust unless you just want to waste money. It's not going to help increase the horsepower all that much. So don't put a fucking $1,000, $1,500, $1,000 to $1,500 on your bike to gain like fucking 5 horsepower. Because you're not going to gain all that much horsepower. And all I really care about, in my opinion, the reason why I love the slip-on my bike is definitely for sound only, to enhance the sound of the bike. Because in my opinion, if they don't see you, a lot of times they'll hear you. And you definitely don't want to be riding around on a quiet bike. And also to help you with the animals. You know, I came to a situation where I saw a whole bunch of deer. They were getting ready to cross the street. And what I do, I pull in my clutch, scared the shit out of them. Them deer flew right back in the woods. And that's what you want, man. Don't be scared to use your throttle. You know? Or use your horn. The horn, in my opinion, the exhaust note on this bike is louder than the horn. But yeah, use either one. You definitely use sound to your benefit. So I highly recommend putting a slip on your bike. It's most definitely worth it, and it sounds awesome. It'll give you that eargasm that we love to hear. You know, we love to hear the exhaust note, especially on these inline fours, in my opinion. I love the sound of the Japanese inline four. It's just fucking amazing. If you see a car that's pulling out of a street or whatever, a parking lot, and you make sure you look at them, have eye contact with them. If they're not paying attention to you and you see the car inching forward, you know, pull that clutch in. Let them get your attention. Use your exhaust. The exhaust is like, when you rev the fuck out of this exhaust, it's like, hey, fuckhead, look at me, you asshole. Pay attention to the fucking what's going on. You know what? Your exhaust is your fucking voice. Because they can't hear your mouth when you're yelling, because you're in your helmet, it's muted out. So your exhaust is your voice. And also, when you increase your speed out here on the street, you increase your risk of an accident. But you know what? It's fun taking risks sometimes, but when shit goes down and you lose control of your bike or whatever happens, animal runs out, it could set you up for a real fucked up day. So you definitely have to be careful about speeding. And I know it's hard to do on these sport bikes. I feel you. I already did a moto vlog on that. And that's, to be honest with you, that was like one reason why I didn't want to get a super sport, because I knew that I would want to speed on the bike.
Eat my dust, copper!
But at the same time, that power is going to help power you out of any emergency situations. You just have to learn to control yourself. You definitely want to have a bailout plan. If a car comes at you, what are you going to do? If a car swerves at you right now, what are you going to do? You need to learn how, like I said, in the parking lot, practice your swerving skills. In my opinion, that's why I think sport bikes are really safer out on the streets. Because they are so much more lighter than cruisers. And it will allow you, these bikes are highly flickable. As where cruisers tend to be very heavy and it's hard to flick them. I mean, not real hard, but it's a hell of a lot tougher flicking those than it is a sport bike. These bikes, it's like nothing, man. I can flick the head. It feels like you're at one with the bike when you're on a sport bike. On a cruiser, man, those bikes could be up to like 700-800 pounds. And that's a lot of weight to try to flick around and maneuver around. And also, the power that you get on these sport bikes is amazing, and can definitely, the power is going to help power you out of any emergency situation. You always want to be thinking in your mind when you're out here on the streets, like, how would you bail out in a tight situation, an emergency situation? What are you going to do? You know, if a car is coming at you, you're going to run. If you don't have time to swerve and stay on the road, run yourself over here off the side of the road and low side on your bike, that's going to be a lot safer than getting nailed by the car. Or maybe if it's you definitely if the car is swerving over on its lane, out of its lane into your lane, you definitely don't want to fly over here to the left. I mean, that's because you may get nailed by another car that's behind that car. So you always want to probably be working with either trying to power out of the situation or low side on the side of the road. If you get an animal that runs out in front of you, especially like a little jackrabbit, and that happened to me one time. I was speeding, and thank God that the jackrabbit, it went through my wheels. It went through between both of my wheels. But had my front wheel hit that jackrabbit, it could have set me up for a real fucked up day. So understand that when you speed out here on the streets, man, you're definitely increasing your risk of getting involved in an accident. So just keep that in mind. Especially, you know, that's why, you know, some of you guys said that's why. See, look at that. That little fucking animal, man, whatever that fucking thing was, may have been looked like a possible skunk or something. But it looked like, I don't know what the fuck that was. It was black. It was getting ready to run across the street. And that's, you know, one thing this makes kind of is dangerous about riding out here on these rural roads and out here on the park roads is because of the little animals and all. But I'll tell you, I'd rather ride with these little animals running across the street than to get nailed by a car out in the city in heavy traffic. So, like they say, pick your poison. You know, out here, anywhere you go, there's going to be some danger. You know, riding is, like I said, it's never going to be completely safe no matter what you do. But you, like I said, you can take steps to make it safer. And that's the name of the game, is just try to stay safe out here on the street. Oh, I forgot one other thing. Some of you guys mentioned that it's unsafe for me to ride with just one hand. First off, let me tell you something. This bike has an electronic steering damper right underneath here, underneath the tank cover here, and it's freaking awesome. It will keep this bike stable at all speeds. I've hit ditches, I've hit some road debris on occasion with riding with one hand, and it will stay stable. So don't worry about me riding with just one hand. Shit, I'll ride with no hands. This bike is, I tell you, that's what makes these bikes so awesome. These CBR 600 double R's and the CBR 1000 double R. At least the newer ones that have the electronic steering damper, it keeps this bike so stable, man. It's awesome. And it makes this bike so easy to ride. That's why they say these CBRs are so easy to ride, especially these newer CBRs. So don't worry about me riding with one hand. Believe me, man. You know, as you guys know, I'm the safe, conscious type of rider out here. You know, I'm not. You know, I will ride risky on occasion, but most of the time, my mindset is on safety. So stop talking about me riding with one hand, dude. You know, yeah, maybe if I was on a Yamaha R6 that doesn't have a built-in electronic steering damper, maybe it would be unsafe, possibly. Probably not. But I'm on a CBR 600 double R, and this bike is basically rides itself. That's why I highly recommend this bike. It helps keep you safe out on the streets. So hey guys, keep it on two wheels, and I wish all you guys the best. Take care, stay safe out on the streets. Until next time.
Catch you guys later. Peace out. And it's time for CycleCruza's recommended videos.
Check out my Moto vlog on why you should avoid riding in rain. If you ever get stranded at night, you're going to wish you had this emergency flashlight and power bank check out my review on it. Check out my moto vlog on why I believe the 2008 Honda CBR 600 Double R is the greatest of all time. Check out my Halloween special moto vlog where I share ghost stories that personally happened to me in a cemetery, the Stanley Hotel, and a ghost boy gives a premonition. Of course, you can always pick up my CycleCruza sport bike graffiti t-shirts at CycleCruza.com.
CycleCruza.com.
Hey, subscribe to my blog over at CycleCruza.com for tips and great deals. Also, click like on my Facebook page for new updates, and that's Facebook.com/CycleCruza1.